What's up everybody, it's EJ Spark back with another countdown video, and a very important countdown video in that today we're going classic rock. Today we're going one of the best bands of all time. Today we're going the Beatles. Now I really wanted to make this video because I personally love the Beatles, and I didn't just want to stick with the hip hop stuff. I do want to cover all the genres that I love, and one of them being classic rock because I love music and I know a lot of people love all types of music. So we're going classic rock. We're going the Beatles today. I love the Beatles, and I think this is a very controversial countdown because a lot of people have similar albums in the top 5 or 10, but they're all switched around. So the reason I'm doing the top 5 best Beatles album is because when you get to the top 10, first of all, they had, I think, 13 or 14 albums in a short period of time. But I think really when you narrow it down with just 5 choices, you really have to, break down your picks and you have to think harder about them. But I do want to give 2 honorable mentions that I was really debating if I should put these 2 albums in the top 5. One of them being Hard Day's Night. Now, Hard Day's Night, amazing album. Can't Buy Me Love, Hard Day's Night, the title track song, and a few others I really love. But it was in their, quote-unquote bubblegum pop days before they got really mature and profound and just even better with their writing. Lennon and McCartney got so good over the course of the years. Harrison got so good. And even Ringo, he started having his own songs, midway through the Beatles' careers when he started getting better, or at least in the spotlight of singing and writing. So that's why Hard Day's Night didn't make it into the top 5, but still one of their best albums. And the other honorable mention is Let It Be. Now, the reason I almost put Let It Be in the top 5 is because it just has some very powerful songs. I mean, Let It Be itself and The Long and Winding Road are amazing songs. They hit you right in the heart. But it was put together after the band broke up. And, Abbey Road was actually the last album they made together before they broke up. So Let It Be, people might have thought, it was just kind of like a myriad of songs thrown together. It didn't really flow into one, complete album. So here we go, top 5. Number 5, I have the Beatles' self-titled album, or AKA the White Album. Now, the reason White Album is number 5 and not higher, I know some people, or popular opinions have it a little higher, is because it has 30 songs or more, right? It was a double album. So it has a lot of songs. Therefore, it's going to have a lot of hits and a lot of great songs. I mean, how can you not put this album on the list of top 5? You have, Back in the USSR, Dear Prudence, Helter Skelter, which is probably their most hard rocky song, and then one of my personal favorite songs is While My Guitar Gently Weeps, a Harrison song. But it was just so long, and I personally am not the biggest fan of super long albums because, sometimes they get a little boring, and sometimes it feels like artists just throw songs in there just to have more songs out there. I don't really know why. And also, the flow of the album was also a little weird, kind of like what I was talking about with Let It Be. There were just some weird songs on it. I mean, I know people like Piggies, but I still think Piggies was a weird song. And Revolution 9, I know a lot of people think it's cool, but that song is pretty kind of weird. So overall, the Beatles' self-titled album, or the White Album, was a great album. The only reason it's number 5 on my list, in my opinion, and not higher, is because the length of the album and just some songs missed the mark for me. But out of an album with 30 plus songs, it's gonna be, somewhat legendary. All right, at number 4, I have the album that contains my favorite song in my life, which is the Rubber Soul album. Now, I think Rubber Soul was their first album when they really expanded, outside of, the pop or quote-unquote bubblegum pop genre, and, I think that was when they really started experimenting with things. It's definitely a darker, more experimental album, or at least their first one. Magical Mystery Tour, definitely experimental, but it was definitely the first time they went really darker with it and just out of the box with it. I mean, what are some notable songs? Norwegian Wood, Drive My Car, In My Life, like I said, You Won't See Me, and I'm Looking Through You. I mean, these songs are just fun and they make you feel good and they really do take you to another place. And this album flowed a lot better than the Beatles' White Album, I believe. And it might be a little biased that In My Life is my favorite song, and I put it at number 4 in the top 5, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people agree with me that Rubber Soul should be in the top 5 of the Beatles' best albums of all time. At number 3, this is where the controversy might start for some people. I have Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Now hear me out for a second. A lot of people would put this number 1 or 2, but the reason I'm putting it 3 behind the other 2 albums is because, shout out to my friend Luke, he said it perfectly, the song is a mood. You have to be in just a certain mood to listen to Sgt. Pepper's. Yes, it was a theme album. You know, they took whatever it was they were doing and made a complete theme out of it, and this was their first album that really flowed well together, like their first really good, solid body of work that just every song after song after song worked really well together. But yeah, even more than Rubber Soul, it was like a very psychedelic mood. I mean, you have Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Get By With a Little Help From My Friends. Now that is my favorite song on the album. I think Get By With a Little Help From My Friends can be sung by anyone. And then you ended off with Day in the Life. I think that's the last song on the album, and that's just a great feel-good song. But overall, just Sgt. Pepper's is one of their top 3 best albums, don't get me wrong. It's not personally even probably in my top 5 favorite albums of the Beatles personally, but overall quality of the album, definitely top 3. You have to pay your respects to Sgt. Pepper's. And those outfits, do you see those outfits? Those outfits were hot in the 60s. All those color schemes, I mean, come on. All right, down to the nitty gritty. At number 2, I have Revolver. And the reasons Revolver is number 2 in front of Sgt. Pepper's, another reason which my friend Luke agreed with, it's really just a good feel-good album. You know, that's the album that held Yellow Submarine. I mean, who doesn't like Yellow Submarine? I think the best track on that album personally is Eleanor Rigby. I think that is a fantastic song. I think the strings on that song are amazing. And just the lyrics, like, I don't even really, understand all the lyrics on that song, but it's very profound, it's very good, and anyone can sing to Eleanor Rigby, and anyone can sing along to any of those songs on the album. A couple more notable songs on that album that I was thinking was Taxman. Taxman is a great song, and Your Bird Can Sing. I love that song. For some reason, I love songs that have to do with birds by the Beatles, like Blackbird on the Beatles self-titled album. Love that song. And the other thing about Revolver, it's one of those albums where every single track is listenable, where the other albums, if you're not a big Beatles fan, you might skip a couple of those songs, but I think Revolver and my number 1 album, you guys can listen to every song and you just wouldn't get tired of it. They're classics. So finally, at number 1, I have Abbey Road. Now hear me out. Abbey Road is number 1 for me, and this is where it gets a little controversial because a lot of people have it 3, 4, or 5 on their list when I was doing some research, but I think Abbey Road is just so great, and I think it's such a complete body of work, and every song just makes me go like, oh, so good, I mean, you can't deny songs like Come Together, Something, Oh Darling, Octopus's Garden, which in my opinion, Octopus's Garden is Ringo Starr's best song, not Yellow Submarine, but that's just my opinion. And I mean, Here Comes the Sun, that is just a classic. Every single person in the world knows Here Comes the Sun, and if you don't know Here Comes the Sun, you're probably living under a rock or something. And I Want You, She's So Heavy, that's a 7-minute, 45-second song, and it's 7 words. Who can make a 7-word song, 7.5 minutes, so good? Only the Beatles. And that picture of them crossing Abbey Road or at Abbey Road Studios and with Paul with his shoes off, I mean, even that created controversy and drama in the world. Everyone thinking Paul is dead and whatnot. Like, that cover is iconic. So just like Revolver, every single song on Abbey Road is listenable. Every single song is just a classic. And I love Abbey Road. Might be a little bit biased, but I really don't think so, because truly, Abbey Road, anybody can listen to it. I truly believe anyone can listen to it. Even if you're not a fan of the Beatles, you're going to love Come Together. You're going to love songs like Here Comes the Sun. You're going to love songs like Something. And just, it's so feel good. You can rock out to it. You can listen to it at any time of the day, and it's just the best. Abbey Road is the best. So that's my list of the top 5 best Beatles albums of all time. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit a thumbs up and subscribe to the video. I'm going to be doing a lot more countdowns because I love doing these countdown videos. I love friendly debates, and I love hearing your guys' opinions. So as always, you can listen to my podcast, The Pit, listen to my music on all streaming platforms, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EJSpark1. And as always, it's peace, love, I love s'mores, EJ out.